and send you a copy so you can check it out. And we make you a YouTube star too. So you're good to go?
I'm good.
Awesome. Is the audio good? Video good? Everything is good?
Yes, everything looks good.
Perfect. So we're recording and we have about 30 minutes to chat. Whatever you feel would be time well spent, whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to go over, all good. We kind of take a snapshot of where you are and see how I can help you make 2020 an amazing year, yeah?
Great. Sounds good.
All right. How many years in the business, Carlos?
Going on 3.
3 years. Good years?
Okay years. I didn't have much guidance coming in. I was just kind of thrown out there, sink or swim. I needed another income while I'm doing real estate. I never wanted to give up on real estate. So I started doing a lot of notaries, like loan doc notaries.
Gotcha.
That's been keeping money coming in while I've been doing real estate. But I really wanna grow in real estate. I want to get busier with real estate and maybe just do notaries part-time rather than vice versa.
Yeah. What would be a good year for you, 2020? Let's say we're talking a year from now. We're just recovering from a massive hangover because it was a great year and we celebrate. What would you be happy with? What would you consider a real success?
A real success would be to be able to close 14 escrows. Maybe
14 escrows, and how much money would that get you? Roughly,
maybe around 80,000 or more.
About 80,000 or so. Would that be good? Would you be happy with 80 grand?
I'd be very happy.
Yeah. All right. And what do you feel is the hardest thing? What is the biggest obstacle that you think will get in a way?
I don't know. Maybe just finding the qualified leads. I didn't always work with expired. This is something new for me.
Okay.
All my business
good leads.
Before my leads. No, just really finding the good leads and having a good system in place to know how to work them.
System for expired. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's basically it. That's
these two. So if we could address these two and really give you a solid structure and a framework, would that be time well spent?
Yes, it would.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you want to address? Do you have any specific question like, oh shit, I must ask him, how did he marry such a beautiful girl?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, if things come up, do stop me and ask, okay?
Okay.
I want to make sure that we're on the right track. Okay, so where to get the best leads and how to work them. What is the overall system to get the expired? You have the expired plus.
Yes.
Did you read the book?
Yes, I'm reading it right now.
You're reading
I haven't finished reading it, but I'm reading it right now.
Okay, good. A lot of the fundamentals and the process is broken down there. So if you ever need a refresher or need to figure out how do I do this or what do I say or what's the next step, it's usually there. And same with the videos. Now, let's break it down how to make this whole thing work. Expireds really can be your salvation in real estate. And I'm not exaggerating. You already know leads is the lifeline of your business. That's where the cash comes from. If you don't have a steady stream of leads, you don't have a predictable business.
Right.
Most agents crash and burn because they don't have systems to generate good leads. They either depend on brokers or they think they're going to come online or they're going to come in referrals and all these. There are only 2 sources that allow you to build a predictable business model, FSBOs and expireds. That's it. Not even referrals. And I like referrals, don't get me wrong. It's nice when somebody calls and says, hey, Carlos, my sister wants to sell a house. Come talk to her. That's nice. There's one fundamental problem with it. You cannot predict it, when and how many calls you're going to get.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's no way to predict. Yes, you work your sphere. Yes, you keep in touch with your clients and your friends and everybody. But there is no predictable model. The only predictable model you can build is expireds and FSBOs. The end. Which is nice because now you know I can build a predictable business based on these 2 lead sources. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it's easier than anything else.
Mhm.
Because unlike referrals, unlike open houses, unlike anything else, I can, after just a short time working these models, predict that if I talk to, I don't know, 12 for sale by owners, I'm going to get 8 appointments. 6 of those will become leads. And out of those 6, I will get 1 listing. That becomes my predictable formula. And I can tweak that formula. If I want to improve the results, I need to figure out, is it my follow-up I can improve? Is it the frequency and all that? But I have the numbers. I have the formula. Same with expired, which makes it nice. Now, you need to figure out after some time of working, after a few weeks, how many expireds do I need to start with? How many of those do I get a conversation with? How many of those do I need to visit and or meet face-to-face and talk? How many do I put on my follow-up? How many I get appointments and how many turn out into listings? That's the whole formula. That's the flow. How many do I start with raw? Conversations, phone calls, visits, follow-up, appointments, listings. And you start tracking it. And then based on that, you can start building these predictable models. So at the end of the year, you say, okay, if I need to close 14 deals, and I'm just hypothetical numbers because your numbers will be different. But let's just have those 14 deals. Let's say, I don't know, what do you think? 6 can be expired listings, 7, half? Is that possible?
Yeah.
In 12 months? That's totally, in my opinion, doable. So if I need to end up with 7 listings here, how many do I need to start here? And if you don't know, just baseline it. Just make numbers up because at the end, they're going to change anyway. Make sense?
Right.
You
Yeah.
with me?
Mm-hmm.
So the cool thing is I can build this model. I can build this formula now. And I can start building my business around it. So I can say, okay, every day I need this many expireds. And whatever that number is. So let's start with, I don't know, let's start with 5 a day and see where that will get us. And then you start tracking. So if I have 5 expireds a day, how many do I get to talk to? How many of those do I get to visit? How many of those do I put on follow-up? How many of those do I get appointments with? And how many do I turn into listings? Like my easy rule of thumb to start with is start with 2 conversations a day. If you don't have any numbers, this is a newer agent or you haven't done this as a systematic daily lead generation system, which is normal, start with 2 conversations a day. What if you just did that? Get 2 expireds on the phone or preferably in person, face-to-face, and just have a little conversation with them. 2 a day, 5 days a week. That's 10 a week, 40 a month. That's a good place to start because out of 40 conversations, let's just be conservative. Out of 40 conversations with expireds, how many do you think would go on a follow-up where you say, I will do something with these people regardless of whether they're ready or not, or they're excited or not, or whatever they say? Give me a number. Just make a number up.
Out of 40?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 5.
So 5 you would put on a follow-up.
Out of 40 people I talked to?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I will try to follow up with all of them. But
probably all. But let's be conservative. Let's say half of those you absolutely don't want to list. They're not motivated. For whatever reason, you want to discard them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? So that's 20 on a follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you convert out of 20 good leads that you have on follow-up 10% into listings? Is that possible?
It's possible.
It's possible with good listing skills and some time. I mean, they're going to list sooner or later. Many of them will, right?
Right.
You already know that. You check the stats in MLS. You'll see that there is an expired. Then nothing happens for a while, and then they go back on the market. You notice that?
Yeah.
It's either they go on the market right away or there is a gap. Yeah?
Right.
So if you have 40 on a follow-up, 40 you talk to, 20 on a follow-up, and only 10% convert into appointments and listings, that's still 2 listings a month out of 40 conversations. Now be completely even more conservative. Let's say only 5%. That's still a listing a month. And that's way more than the 7 that you're projecting, which is 50% of your goal. Those are not bad numbers just by 2 conversations, but here's the catch. And this is where agents trip. They say, well, 2 a day, I can do that. Yeah, it's 2 every day. So on the day you don't do your 2, guess what happens the next day?
You have to do 4.
You doubled. And if you get sick like I did for 3 days, you gotta hustle to catch up because you have to every month end up with your 40. Because if you're consistent there, the results will start showing up consistent. Now there is some delay because there is a process. Especially the follow-up process can take a few days, few weeks, sometimes longer. But that's the secret. Does it make sense so far?
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
during the follow-up process, let's say if they already said no, and I know you still got to keep in touch,
Yeah.
would you recommend going to visit them anytime after that again, or just send them postcards and
Ooh,
letters?
good question. A lot of it depends on your estimation of their motivation. Because I had many expireds who at the beginning were telling me, no, 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 we don't want to sell. We're not moving. We're not going anywhere. Ended up listing. And what bothered me is very often not with me.
Right.
You know, another agent would snag it. I'm like, shit, they told me they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is very often they're confused and frustrated and angry and don't know who to trust. That's problem number one. Problem number two, they have no reason to trust me. So they don't want to be open and honest with me and tell me the truth. You know? So what I want to determine is, what is the problem? Why are they selling? What is the real reason they're selling? Because you're going to hear things like, we want a bigger house, smaller house, this, that. But what's the problem? Bigger house or smaller house is not the solution to the problem. What is the real problem? And how intense it is? How bad do they really want that? Because it's not going to come down to price. It's not going to come down to features. It's not going to come down to any of that. It is always the emotional drive that's causing it, that's triggering it. So for example, if they say, well, we need to be in Florida. Why? Our daughter lives there. We want to be closer to the grandkids. How much does that matter to them? I need to decipher that. Based on that, I will determine the frequency of my follow-up, how I'm going to follow up. Because if that emotional bond, being with the grandkids, being near the granddaughter, or the job transfer, or whatever other reason they have, matters to them a lot, if it's a big problem that they're trying to solve, I will have a very intense follow-up. But if it's like, well, if it sells, great. If it doesn't, fine, we'll stay where we are. Not the type of seller I want to work with. They need to have a problem. And your job is to determine what is it and how intense. What will be solved once the house sells? You with me?
Yeah.
So with all the clients you worked with so far, if you look back, you could probably pinpoint, here was the problem and here's how we solved it, right?
Right.
And it's always an emotion. Yes, you justify with logic, you support it with logic, you support it with facts, and you support it with reality. But the trigger is always emotion. It's always emotional. There's always an emotional need, a desire, what I call the core driving emotion, that makes them go through the process. Okay? So you, through conversations, need to figure out, what the hell do they really want? What do you guys really want? And there are many questions, you have them in the book. But some of the questions I would ask, so let's say you're my prospect and we're talking about moving, and I will ask Carlos, well, you guys own a beautiful house. Where do you live? Where are you? Where are you located?
West Covina.
West Covina. Ooh, my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just south of you, Whittier, La Habra, Whittier, that area.
Yeah.
So I would ask, you guys have a beautiful house here. You've lived here for many years. You've put a lot of money into it. It's beautiful. Why not just keep it? I flip it on them.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm looking for is not just what they tell me, the facts, but how they react. Because that will give me a lot of insight, how much it matters to them. Does it really matter to them? Or are they one of those like, eh? If we get our price. If we get our price, everybody's a seller. Do you own your home?
No.
No, okay. Imagine you did. Would you sell it to me for $5 million?
Yeah.
Of course. Everybody's a seller if I can get the right price. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So there's no such thing like nobody. Of course, everybody's a seller if I could get my price. You're going to get what the market thinks it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about the price. It's never about the price. It's about their core drive and emotion, their emotion, desire to live somewhere else. Are you with me so far? Is it making sense?
Yeah.
So now, We're going to get to your question specifically, postcards, visits, and all that in just a moment. But let's start with the leads. How do we feed the leads? What system do you use? Where do you get your expireds now, Carlos?
From my title rep. He
Title
sends me he sends me a bunch of expireds in a given area, a certain map.
Okay. Might be a good way to start. My suggestion would be down the road, once you make this a system and you want to become really proficient at it and be at the same level as your competition, sign up for one of the data providers who will feed you this information daily. Like Espresso Agent, Landvoice, Redex, Vulcan. There's a whole bunch of them out there. So get one, because this will connect to your systems. You can start dialing, you can start putting into your contact management system and all that. Okay?
And these usually provide phone numbers?
Systems like Espresso, which is my favorite, Espresso will get you phone numbers and emails. They're not always perfect, not to everybody, of course, but it's better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
One thing about phones, only about, and this varies slightly by area, but about 10% of the expireds you're going to get on the phone. It's not going to be a whole lot. So don't ever rely, and we're going to get to it in just a moment when we talk about the contacts, on a single point of contact. In other words, don't rely just on one channel. Like, don't just call expireds, don't just mail expireds, don't just do one thing. Do everything. That's the easiest, best way to convert expireds.
Right.
If you open all these channels, okay? But start with good data. Get good data. So like if you check out Espresso, we have an affiliate deal with them. If you use the code Borino, you can try it for a month for $29. See how you like it. They have a dialer, single line dialer you can use, and just take all the data, and then you're going to feed it into your system. So you're going to collect these, because the rule is this: until the expired relists, or you're 100% certain they're not a good lead, motivated lead, keep in touch. Because I had some expireds, they would call me months later. I would just follow up. Month later, and say, oh, this is Mr. So-and-so on Green Street. We've been seeing your name. Come, let's talk. Come on down. I'll take that. Okay? So first, good data is important, because that's what your competition is using. So you want to be on the same level. Okay? So that's the one. The second thing you're going to need is a good contact management system. You need to house these leads, organize them, keep in touch with them. Here's why that's important. Majority of your appointments here will not come from the first contact. They will come from the follow-up. So it's going to take multiple attempts, multiple tries, multiple follow-ups, multiple contacts and conversations and communications before they go, you know what, Carlos, you've been in touch, let's talk. And what I found, and again, your numbers will be slightly different, but my numbers have been between 5 and 15 contacts. That includes everything. You know, every piece of mail you send them, every conversation you have. It took me 5 to 15 follow-up touches before somebody said, yes, let's do this. Okay? So it is a game of persistence. Where the agents screw up is they give up too soon. And the reason I know that, because I was the idiot at the beginning, where the first no I took for no, rather than no very often, but not right now.
Right.
And I'll be driving down the street. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the expire. Fuck, there is a Century 21 sign. You know what I mean?
Hey, when that happens.
Right? And it took me a long time to figure out, are they lying to me? Most often, no. It's not that they're being deceptive. They just don't know who to trust. To them, we're all the same. Salespeople gunning for a commission. No reason to tell them the truth, because they will exploit and they use all kinds of tricks, which many agents do. So, you know, it takes a little while to break through that, build the trust, build connection, build the relationship where they can start opening up to you. And the smart agents who figure this out, clean up. Yeah?
Right.
So start with good data source, connect it to a good contact management system. Do you have one now? Do you use a CRM?
No, I don't.
Okay, get one.
Okay.
There's about 7 million of them out there. So check out LionDesk, check out Realty Juggler, check out Follow Up Boss, check out iExact Contact. There is There's a million of them. But these would be the three I would start with. Especially if you're on a budget, it would be the Lion Disc or Realty Juggler.
Okay.
Those are both inexpensive, good systems. Every lead you're going to get from your data source, you're going to put straight into your contact management system. Okay? Because it's easy if you have 5 expireds. That's easy. You just need a notepad. You don't need anything. But if you have 50, you have 100, you have 200, which is you're going to start accumulating, you need some central database that will house this and control it and organize it for you.
Okay.
You with me so far?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
No.
Right now.
Okay. So those are the first things we're going to start with. And then you have the data source, you have the contact management system. Then it's a matter of following the expired plus process of contacting the expired. And the process uses what I call the multi-channel approach, MCA. And the multi-channel approach simply means communicate with people on as many channels as possible. It's just like, you ever fish? You ever been fishing?
Yeah, I've been fishing.
So now imagine you have 1 hook in the water, or here comes a dude who brings 20 hooks in the water. Who's going to get more fish? Likely, most likely.
Yeah.
The dude with more hooks. That's just basic math, right?
Right.
Imagine each of these communication channels is another hook to engage this expired in a conversation. Make sense?
Yes.
So we're going to start with a call if possible. And the purpose of the call is not as much to set an appointment. In most cases, they will not be open to a perfect stranger setting up an appointment. It's fine. Number 1, have they relisted? That's the number 1 thing you need to find out first. So you don't waste your time, you don't waste their time.
Right.
Okay? From there, be ready for that typical knee-jerk reaction of, we're not ready, we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to go back to our old age and all that. Maybe they will, and some will, but maybe they won't. So what you're going to often get, the no very often just means not right now. We're just looking.
Right.
Right? And that's fine. Some you will convert, you will have a conversation, some you will not. But if they have not relisted, it's game on. And the reason it's game on is because of statistics. Because you have statistics. Statistics show, and that varies by area, that a big percentage of those who say no end up listing. Yeah?
Right.
So you call them. Again, 10%, give or take, you're going to get on the phone. 90% you will never reach on the phone. But if you still have their cell number, step 2, you text them. Short little text. Yeah? You have them in the book, use the variations. Keep it very conversational. No stiff salesy talk, none of that. No fake, like I have a buyer. Don't do that. You text them. Number 3, if you have, send them a short email. Number 4, you visit them. And this is one of the most powerful parts where you can build relationships quickly. This is how I got a lot of listings. Just by knocking on the door, having a 10-minute quick conversation with them, smile, no fancy scripts, no closing, no salesy shenanigans, no pressure. Just a little talk. But where it gets interesting and what will differentiate you, if you haven't done it, have you done the package yet? Do you have it put together?
No, I emailed you my brochure yesterday. I'm still working on my resume.
Okay, we'll get back to you on that. But the package will help you stand out because most agents either show up like with a business card or send like a template letter that they downloaded for free from the internet. So everybody's kind of the same. That's why so many sellers will tell you, are you all the same? Well, yeah, because they are.
Yeah.
Where the package, the way it's designed, it's specifically designed for expired listings. It speaks to them. It addresses their fears. It addresses their questions. It resonates with them. Okay? So you're going to put one together. If they're not there, you're going to leave it there. So that way, when you follow up, you say, I'm the guy who dropped that off. Oh, yeah, we went through. Okay?
Okay.
So that's the visit. If you just do this, you're going to get more business than your competition. Most agents don't do that.
Okay. Do you recommend doing them in that order, or
Yes.
should I visit first?
I would recommend doing it in that order. The reason you don't want to visit right away is because if they're relisted, you don't waste your time.
Right.
And just like in LA, you know, everything is an hour away.
Yeah.
Unless you're driving on 405, then it's 3 hours away.
Yeah. You know why they call it the 405, right?
Yeah, right. That's
Because it takes.
the best parking lot in Los Angeles. That's my favorite.
They call it the 405 because it takes 4 or 5 hours to get where you're going.
There you go. See, I never figured that one out. Yeah, that is so true, man. I lived in Hermosa Beach, so very frequently I had to use it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fun to complain about LA traffic. So I would do it in this order. The purpose of all this at the beginning is to have a conversation, to have a talk with them. And this is where your mastery comes into play. And this is where you can stand out regardless of how many years you've been in the business, how much experience you have. It is your ability to build trust with strangers, to build communication skills so they open up to you, they feel comfortable talking to you, they enjoy the conversation. That's essential. Because agents who are rock stars today got there, a lot of hard work, good mindset. Big chunk of their success is because they're good communicators. Very, very important skill, okay? And the way you do that is just role play, practice. That's what I did. 30 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, every day. Get it done. Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Good for you, man. I never did. I know how to cuss really well. Like I know all the juicy words, you know, living.
You know how to say tequila?
Tequila, pendejo, puto, come.
There you
Está
go.
bien.
Hey,
Ándale,
well, those are the most important ones. So.
Tequila, I'm with you. I should have had more tequila. I wouldn't have gotten sick. That's the problem. And I know how to cuss. I know how to drink. Comida, That's about it.
Yeah, there you go.
So the advantage you have is you can hit the markets, Spanish speaking, English speaking, same way. But practice. Get good at connecting, asking the questions, really listening, really connecting, and really doing it not just on the surface level, the salesy level, but really being genuinely interested and see if you can help them.
Right.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Role play. Get good at this stuff. It doesn't take long. It took me probably 30 days to really get this down, where I was comfortable answering their questions, handling objections, setting up appointments. It wasn't that hard. Yeah?
Yeah.
¿Está bien?
Muy bien.
All right. So you're going to go down this list. Now, some you will connect with, some you will not. Some will reply and get into conversation with you, some you will not. The secret there is you just keep going. Because most agents don't do this. Most of our competition, sometimes they call or they mail, but very few have an actual system like you do. And very few actually stay with that system like you do. The trick is you get them into conversation if you can, and if you can't, you keep trying. Don't give up too soon. So many agents try once, they call once, or visit once, that's it. Stay. So a listing expires on Thursday. I'm going to call, I'm going to text, I'm going to email, I'm going to visit. No conversation, I'm going to leave a package. I'm going to go back on Saturday. Visit them again. Knock on the door again. Saturday morning usually was a good window. Sunday afternoon was usually a good window. See what works for you. Okay. What's the best opportunity for somebody to open the door so I can talk to them? Because think about it this way. At the end, many of these listings, somebody's going to list. Right?
Right.
Somebody's going to get it. Who gets the listing usually?
Well, it's the person that they like the most.
They like the most. Now, how can you become that person? What do you have to do? They need to know you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else?
They need to like me and they need to trust me.
There need to be a relationship. This is the easiest way to get there. Because at the end, it's not about being the best agent or the most experienced agent, right? That's not the criteria. I mean, it helps. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be the agent who makes a good first impression here at the beginning and who keeps in touch so they build that relationship with the seller. That means strong first impression, good follow-up. That's the formula.
Right.
Okay? So now we're getting to the follow-up part. we're here. So you visit them here, and then you follow up here. The rule of follow-up is they know who you are, they know they like you, they can trust you, they can ask you questions, you're their guide. The way you position yourself as such is you ask more questions, you don't push, you don't sell. You're in a position where, like, let's just figure out if I can help you. Let's see what you're trying to accomplish, and let's see if we can make it happen. Rather than, we're number one, and I'm the best agent in the area, and you should list with me, and I offer discount commissions. Which is, again, what most agents do. They compete on commissions, and they make these salesy statements. So you stay away from that. So now, you asked about the postcards and the visits. If I had a listing that I wanted, and I feel like these people will relist, it's in a desirable area, they've been on the market a couple times with different agents, I see some price adjustments, so their motivation is there, I would visit 2, sometimes 3 times, and I would keep a very aggressive follow-up going. Now, with the follow-up, it's the same thing. I would text once in a while. I would email once in a while. I would mail them whatever part of the sequence they were on. That's why the good contact management system is so important. Because 90% of that can be done automatically. They don't have to do much. It's just programmed as a sequence. Okay. It is the repetition of them seeing your face, seeing your name, hearing from you, getting your messages. It's the repetition that will start creating that familiarity. Just like you and I. When did you get the Expired Plus? Do you remember?
I got it about a week ago.
About a week ago. Okay.
A week and a half ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember when was the first time you encountered me?
Yeah, it was actually about 2 years ago when I got into real estate.
Okay. So now watch how this works. 2 years ago, you probably saw my video on YouTube, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, this dude is different. Nobody cusses like him. I never heard, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So it took 2 years of me sending you videos, emailing you stuff. Maybe you watched something on Facebook. You came to my webinars or something. 2 years to the moment you said, here's my credit card. I trust you enough that this stuff will work for me. Help me. Same thing. And you know why that's the same thing? Because it's not based on selling. It's based on human psychology. It took 2 years for you to build enough trust where I provide enough value, give you advice, give you tips, where you say, shit, if I can get this for free, I don't mind paying because I'm sure it's going to be good. Something like that. True?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the same process. Now, it shouldn't take 2 years here. This will be determined by their motivation. How urgent they need to move. How bad does it matter to them? One thing you don't want to work is people who don't have urgency. If they can sit on that house for 2-3 years until they get their price, you move on. That's the only criteria. I want somebody who has urgency, who is realistic, who's also nice to work with. You don't want to work with assholes.
Right.
You don't want to work with people who don't appreciate what you can do for them, who don't see the value in it, who try to penny pinch you. But I'm here to tell you, plenty of nice people out there who need your help.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does require work. It does require working the system, being on top of it. I'm not pretending this is easy, but I'm here to tell you, compared to many other lead generation systems, this is the easiest, fastest. By far. Because if you compare it to like online lead generation, like you run Google ads or Facebook ads, you're looking at about 18 months conversion time, 12 to 18 months. Most expireds, you'll be done in weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying don't run Facebook ads or don't do all that. Do it. But understand that you're running 2 pipes where you're stuffing your leads. Now business and future business.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're nurturing relationship with your sphere, that's future business. Online lead gen, future business. If you door knock, that's all future business. I used to door knock, dude. I door knocked La Mirada, Pico Rivera, Whittier, Downey, Norwalk, multiple times. Wore out dozen pair of shoes.
Yeah.
It works. You get leads, you get people, but it's usually like, yeah, you know, my husband will retire in a year. Something like that, you know, long-term business.
Right.
Which is fine if you have now business. But if you don't have now business, you can't go without a paycheck for a year.
Right.
So this will convert a lot faster. I had some expireds who were ready in a week, even sooner sometimes. I had expireds, and this doesn't happen often. I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but it does happen occasionally, where I would walk in, we would have a great conversation. You know how you hit off with somebody, you really kind of click? And an hour, 2 hours later, sign a contract. It can happen. Now, I'm not saying it will, or at least it will not. Often, don't expect like, oh shit, I didn't get it right away, I'm screwing it up. You're not. But you're dealing with people who want to move. They're already in the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they already have the motivation.
Exactly. And they're already taking steps. They're not just thinking about it. They already signed with somebody. And just because it didn't sell in the first place, just because the first agent didn't get the job done, doesn't just mean they don't want to be in Florida or Oregon or Colorado or God knows where else. Very often they still do, even though they may not tell you that right up front. They may kind of hold off that information because they don't trust people. They don't trust salespeople. Yeah?
Right.
Any questions?
No.
Did I answer your postcard, all that question?
Yeah.
Yeah. If in doubt, follow up more. Because I lost more business because of poor follow-up than anywhere else. I dropped the ball. When somebody else took a listing, it was usually because they had a better follow-up. They were more persistent in their follow-up. So tighten that up. If I had a really hot lead, especially if I had an appointment with them, I would follow up every day. Every day. Because I don't want to take a chance over a 20-cent postage on a postcard. I'd rather spend that and lock in the listing. Yeah? Okay. So think about it this way. Content of your follow-up is important, but nowhere near as important as the frequency, as the fact that you're keeping in touch. Because guess where all of your beautiful postcards going to end up?
Either in the trash or in their file cabinet.
Usually in the trash.
Yeah.
Usually all that stuff you send them, but it is the, oh, Carlos again, picture, face, connection, relationship, something interesting. The split second that registers that you stay on top of their mind, that makes all the difference. I don't need them to keep it, although I had some sellers that would collect it. I don't know why, it was weird. They opened up the big folder and there was my shit there. But it is the fact that they remembered me, that I was usually the first one they call, or at least when I followed up, we were like, hey, funny thing you called us. We were just talking about putting the house back on the market. Constantly keeping in touch. Yeah?
Yeah.
So here's the rule. Don't drop a lead until you follow up at least 5 times.
Okay.
Especially if you haven't talked to them. Because if you haven't talked to them, you don't really know their situation. I would assume they want to sell, they're motivated, they're looking for an agent. I just need to keep trying.
Now, before each follow-up, would you say I should look them up on the MLS to make sure they're not relisted?
Very good question. Should you look it up? Yes. Should it be done by you? No. Because as you're growing this database and as your business is growing, you would spend a lot of time doing this admin stuff. So you need to hire somebody who can do all these things for you. Besides, most of this stuff like texting, emails, putting the packages together, mailing, following up can be done by somebody else. It doesn't need to be done by you. Your power and your magic is in conversations. You know what I mean? When you get on the phone with them, answer the questions, you ask them questions, qualify them. That's where the power is. That's where you build the relationship, where you see them face to face, when you do listing presentations. But whether you actually type the text that they get from you or your assistant does, doesn't matter. So don't waste your time with that kind of stuff. You must get somebody, and that would be that was, again, another big mistake. I tend to kind of make really big mistakes and then look back and go, oh, stupid. I took too long to hire help. And for me, it wasn't the money. It was more like, nobody can do it as good as I can. This is my business. I'm not going to let anybody just waltz in and take over this shit. Stupid. So hire somebody. Hire somebody, even just for 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, who can do this kind of admin stuff. Hire a virtual assistant if you have to. Just spend a few bucks so you can run a business, but not waste time on stuff that's not producing directly money. You know what I mean? So stuff like, do they need to cross-reference so you don't follow up with active listings? Yes, somebody needs to keep cleaning up your database, absolutely. And something like Espresso Agent will do that automatically. They will flag any expired, whoever you listed.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
good to know.
but keep an eye on that, yeah. But you don't want to get bogged down by the admin stuff, you know, paperwork and administration and answering some of the emails you don't need to be answering, ordering for sale sign, and then running copies and getting all that done. That's a administrative work that somebody else will do for you.
Okay.
Okay. You want to run a business. It's just like if you run a restaurant, you cannot run a nice restaurant by yourself. That'd be a food truck.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have staff. So same thing here. Even if it's just 2 hours a day, 12, 13, 15 bucks, whatever is the wage, you pay somebody who can get that done for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Helpful?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, not at the moment. I'll be reading the Expired Plus book and applying the
Read the
system.
book, implement it, get out there and do it immediately. Don't wait until it's perfect, because
Right.
it will never be. Practice, get good at communication, master the dialogues. You don't need to memorize scripts. It's not about reciting scripts. It is about being confident in communication, so you can ask direct questions, you can carry the conversation, qualify the sellers, answer their questions, and then determine, do I follow up with them? Do I drop them? Do I set up an appointment with them? Where are we? Handling brushes that you're going to get, like, oh, we already have an agent, or we don't know what we're going to do, getting past those, mastering it as a skill is vital.
Okay.
Because yeah, go ahead.
I saw, because I was watching the quick start videos, and I saw on one of them you did have like index card looking things for the brushes and stuff. Is that something that's included in the Expired Plus?
That is not included in the Expired Plus. All the answers are. You have most of the dialogues and answers and objections and all in the book and on the videos. But that's a separate program that comes with the Path. Path is the membership coaching program. And on month 2 of the Path, you're going to get what's called Core Influence. And this is a communication program, not just for expireds, but for pretty much any type of lead. And we go through lead generation, answering questions, controlling conversations, handling objections, setting appointments, all that. And that comes with a stack of cards. Let's see if I have a sample here. I might. Maybe. Oh, yeah, I do. So if you want to check it, I'll send you more info on Core Influence. You get the book, looks like this. It's all about confident communication. And then you get these cards. This is what you saw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are called dialogue outlines. They're not full scripts because I don't want you to memorize scripts, so you don't want to sound like a telemarketer. Mm-hmm. But it's these outlines that'll help you remember how to stay on track. So when the seller takes you off somewhere and throws something at you, you know how to react to it, handle it, and bring it back. Okay? So something you want to check out. I mean, yeah, you can buy this separate if you want, but it's better if you just get it as a Path. It's less expensive too. All right. So if you just get the stack of cards and role play, practice. Most agents don't do that. And then you put most agents on the phone with a qualified seller and they just blow it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's the sad truth. And again, I was one of those agents for a very long time. You would give me like a really motivated, qualified seller, and I would totally destroy it just by not sounding confident and messing up the conversation.
They could hear it in your voice.
Isn't that interesting? They totally can. And it's not even like a logical process where they have a checklist and they're like, oh, no, you know, he didn't sound too confident and he paused too much. but it's a subconscious reaction we have where we just feel this desire to get off the phone. You know what I mean? Like, you ever had like a political call or a telemarketer or somebody trying to sell you shit?
All the time.
Right? And it's like, you just want to just get off the phone.
Yeah, and I could tell when they're reading a script too. So.
And isn't it how quickly we can react to that? Like, you can just tell. And especially if they're really terribly, if they're bad at it, right?
Yeah.
You can master it. It really is. This confident communication is nothing but a skill. But you cannot read it. It cannot be a memorized script, because then you're going to be just too stiff. It doesn't sound, that's not how we speak to each other.
Right.
And people can pick up on, especially if it's an expired listing who received a few calls already. Their radar is already on. And if you fuck it up, it's over.
Yeah.
So you got to be good at it. But the beautiful thing is, once you master it, it's so easy to blow your competition out of the water. I mean, this guy from Czechoslovakia figured it out. What does that tell you? It's not rocket science. It really isn't. You can do this. Anybody can do it. I can train anyone and show anyone how this is done. It's nothing but a set of skills. What most people don't want to do is spend the time necessary to develop those skills. Because it's like going, do you go to the gym?
Yeah. I go to the gym.
Is it always fun? Is it always like, hey, I can't wait to lift that heavy shit?
No, especially if you haven't done it in a while, getting back into it is like, it's a drag. But I mean,
but you still,
I know
you go and do it.
Yeah.
Same thing. If you're willing to invest the time and really work on yourself and develop these skills, you're going to look good. You know? It's funny.
Yeah, consistency.
I used to be 221 pounds. Fat as a fuck. I was really fat. I mean, you see some of my old videos, I was like fucking pig.
I was going to mention, you look like you lost weight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I lost 36 pounds. Which, not huge, but nice. I feel much better. And people say, well, what did you do? What did you do? They're expecting this like magical answer. Like, you know, I took this magical pill and voila. No. I change what I ate and I go to the gym. That really is the whole answer. I go to the gym, I work out 5 times a week, and I eat healthier stuff and less.
And to be consistent.
It's the same thing. If you role play every day, if you do this every day, if you every day get a little bit better, and you're willing to suck at the beginning and go through the pain at the beginning, it's going to get better. And you're going to get results at the end. Because there are tons of people out there who need a good agent, who need to sell, who will list with somebody and who's going to pay them money. So what you need to ask yourself is, what do I have to be? What do I have to do to be that agent?
Right.
Yeah, helpful?
Yeah, sounds good.
Carlos, my good man, 2020 can be your year.
It will be.
You know that? You can totally crush it, dude. You got the answers, you got the books, you got the resources, you got the coach in your corner. You got to put in the work.
Yeah,
you got to put in the work. And there'll be days it's going to be boring. There'll be days it's going to be frustrating. There'll be days you feel like it's not happening. There'll be days where you're not getting the results. I had days when I would work out, do everything right, and my weight would be either stuck or even go up. And be easy to say, well, fuck, it's not working. It's my genetics or whatever else. You know? If you stay with it, you're going to move. Yeah?
Yeah.
Don't let me down, brother. I'm counting on you.
Yeah. Looking forward to 2020.
It's going to be a good year. Keep me posted. I'll send you information on the path. Come join us. That will really accelerate everything because we get a chance to work more closely together. You get all my materials. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I can get you to make sure you really crush it in 2020. You're in a good area, dude. You're in an area where real estate has always been good to many agents. No reason why you can't do it.
Right.
All right?
Sounds good.
Keep me posted. If you need help, you need answers, reach out. Hit me up.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Nice talking with you. Happy New Year.
You too. Happy New Year, Borino.
Thanks, Carlos. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.